not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Barons win! Barons win!
Cody Jansen stopped 92 out of 95 shots, including a penalty shot in overtime. Somehow he still only wound up the third star of the game.
You like that?
Jansen has a heart.
You're smoking crack!
The trade has happened. I'm telling you, I had a gut feeling yesterday. I said it was going to happen. And that it did. Jack Eichel, the newest member of the Vegas Golden Knights. Alex Tuch goes the other way. Peyton Krebs goes the other way. A first rounder, a second rounder, and Buffalo dishes back a third. That's the big news of the day. And we are going to break all of that down right here on World Hockey Report. We are presented by Lordco Auto Parts, the official auto parts retailer of Hockey Canada and Team Canada. If you're going to the rink today, Lordco, they're going to make sure you got everything you need for a smooth ride. Stop by. They got a great store in Edmonton here, lots out in BC, and they are expanding. I'm telling you, they are phenomenal. Bright white headlight replacement bulbs for increased visibility during early morning or late night commutes to battery maintainers. That'll ensure your vehicle starts when the temperature drops. Visit a Lordco location today for knowledgeable service, quality parts, and accessories. Visit lordco.com to find a store near you. We got so many comments to get to. I don't know how we're going to break this all down in an hour show, but it's going to be phenomenal. In 40 minutes time, Jill Thompson's going to hop on, photographer, podcaster, Sabres fanatic. You know her on Twitter at Sabres Bunny. And then from Hockey Night in Canada, analyst Harpreet Pandher. Going to jump on in about, let's say, 16 minutes time, and he's going to break down all the news of the day. If you follow him on Twitter, you know he's one of the most knowledgeable people in the game, and we're excited to have him join the show here in about 15 minutes time. Vegas fans, I want to hear from you. Buffalo fans, I want to hear from you tonight. Join the conversation at 12 Ounce Sports, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. That's where we're coming to you live on. You can join the chat there. You can also comment on Twitter. We're at World Hockey RPT. I'm there at Janner31_. Join the conversation anytime. But also, if you comment on 12 Ounce Sports, Facebook, or YouTube, it's going to show up on screen. And so we want to hear from you. Those always get priority. We try get to, the Twitter questions, the Twitter comments as much as possible. But it's just a fact. If you get it up on screen, you join the conversation, you're getting it in there first. Breaking news on the waiver wire. Scott Wedgwood, he was put on waivers by New Jersey and Arizona. Claims him. Makes sense. I mean, you can't help Vejmelka to, go for a month straight as your starter. That's not good. And that Russian kid they got, he ain't ready for it. The Eichel trade, though, I really want to hear your thoughts. If you join the conversation today, get on it now. Does this move the needle for Vegas? Is this what we've been talking about for years? It feels like that they need a number one center. Vegas needs a number one center. They need help up the middle. Chandler Stevenson, he ain't it. He's not a number one center. So does the line of Pacioretty, Stone, and now Jack Eichel when healthy, does that become the top line in the Pacific? I'm not trying to knock McDavid Draisaitl here, but Jack Eichel is a monstrous ad when healthy. There's no denying that. I don't think you can deny that. That Jack Eichel is a superstar in this league. He's a top 5 center in this league when healthy. Is there concern? Yes, he's going to have to get the surgery. He's going to have to go on LTIR. We'll see if he's ready for playoffs. It's something that hasn't been done by an NHLer before. They say 3 to 5 months. I guess time will tell. No chance he plays in the Olympics. I think best case scenario, they get him for playoffs. And right now with Vegas' spot, they're going to be competing for a wild card spot. And then you got to play probably the Oilers in the first round, maybe the Flames in the second round. Their run to a cup is not an easy route by any means. But it's also one where you add Jack Eichel and you just never know. I mean, if this guy can come back better than ever, the Pacific better watch out. He's going to be on a tear. He's going to be pissed off. He's going to be wanting to prove people wrong. There's a lot of people, he complained his way out of Buffalo. He was not a team player. He's not a captain. He's not a leader. He's not this. He's not that. Hey, he just had enough of Buffalo shit and said, get me out of here. That's what he did. I see nothing wrong with that when it's the Buffalo Sabres and how that organization's been run, because they've been a dumpster fire. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They're the worst run team in the NHL right now. Yes, they had a good start to the season, but to be frank, over the past 5 years, they've been a lot worse than the Arizona Coyotes. It's a lot worse of an organization to be in, where they don't exactly have a direction. I don't know if that's the Pagulas wanting to change things up ever so often. I think you got to give Kevyn Adams some credit here. The haul of Alex Tuch isn't bad. I don't mind the Krebs edition. I think that kid's got to get some more confidence, and then, give him some time. They got Deline there. They got some solid pieces to build around. They still got Cousins there. Buffalo isn't in the worst spot possible. You got Devin Levi in net. They got him from Florida. I believe that was in the Reinhart deal. You got UPL as well. I'm not even going to try pronounce that kid's name. Or should I? Would it be funny? It's like Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Kid was nasty at the World Juniors. So they got two great goaltending prospects coming up. And when I say great goaltending prospects, I mean two guys who are likely going to be 1Bs in the NHL, if not starters. I think of Levi that highly, and I think of, UPL. He's got what it takes. He's got the size. He's bigger. He's a bigger version of UC Saros, honestly. And Saros was phenomenal. If anyone watched that game versus Calgary, Saros is a legit starting goaltender. So I don't know why UPL couldn't be that guy for Buffalo in the future, but right now it's time that they build for it. And essentially, if you're Buffalo, you got to get what you can from the Vegas Golden Knights, not Calgary. We'll dive into that whole Calgary debacle a little bit, but you got to get what you can for them. That sets you up for 3+ years in the future. Tuch's on a contract. Yes, he's been injured. Yes, he's been banged up, but he's still got 5 years left on his contract, I believe, at 4 and some change. Krebs, there's the potential there. No one's denying that. Peyton Krebs is likely a future top 6 in the NHL. You get a first-round pick. It's top 10 protected, which is fine. I mean, I think when you're taking a pick from Vegas, you're probably expecting it to be around that 15 mark this season. So, you might be getting a Dylan Holloway or Xavier Bourgault, for example. That's the type of player. Someone you hope you can become a third liner. And then that second-round pick, which everyone was saying was a third round earlier, they jumped the gun. A second rounder, again, that's just depth in your system. Glenn chimes in on the conversation. Alexander Holtz just got called up by the New Jersey Devils. I need your immediate thoughts on Alexander Holtz. Glenn, do you remember watching that guy in the World Juniors? Decent player. I believe he had good numbers in the Swedish league, too. I can't remember what team he was on. I think he played Allsvenskan and then jumped up to the SHL when he was 18. Something like that. No, he did just go up to Djurgården. Okay. Yeah. Went up to Djurgården. 18 points in 40 games last year. I guess that's not nasty. But again, he's a guy who he can shoot the pill. He's got 5 goals in 4 American League games this year, Glenn. So I do think that there is the potential there. I don't think you're going off of his sample size. World Juniors, the past couple of years, he's got 4 goals and 4 assists in 2 tournaments. That's fine. Good Swedish young prospect. For New Jersey, essentially getting these kids in these games is going to be crucial because they're not in a win-now mode. Especially with Hughes hurt, too. Hamilton hasn't done anything. Everyone wants to go rip on Seth Jones because he's had a few bad games. Well, Dougie Hamilton sure hasn't stuck out in New Jersey, so I don't mind the Holtz edition. Back to the Eichel trade, though. I want to address the Calgary rumors, and I know I'm going to burn some bridges here. I know I'm going to piss off some wannabe hockey media journalists, but there's insiders you trust, and then there is people who say they have sources. And if you're listening to an Elliot Friedman who said this morning on the Jeff Merrick Show, Calgary was interested. I got the quote here. The Calgary Flames were always in, but were never close. Now, Andy Strickland had to chime in and shut down those rumors. He had to shut down the Tkachuk rumors. So, and that's a St. Louis guy. There's the connection for sure. There's obviously the connection. But when Elliot Friedman is saying, hey, you know, they were never close. They were in on it, but they were never close. Maybe they weren't looking to move a Monahan. I think Valimaki would have been a perfect piece for this. But if Buffalo's wanting young forwards, then, you know, Calgary really doesn't have that much to offer. Their well isn't as deep as Vegas, who has no problem spending and going on the runs. They're in win now mode. They're playing it like an NBA team where draft picks are pennies out there. And essentially, you're going to take a gamble on your future to win hockey games. Okay, we connected with Adam Erwin-Trout here on the phone. Trout, give me your breakdown on the Eichel trade.
Love it for both sides. You know what? For Vegas, Alex Tuch, you could argue he was their best player in some of those playoff games. But, you know, we always talk, we're like, what's Vegas missing? A number one center. Well, it's Jack Eichel, a number one center. How do you get number one centers? You don't really, right? I mean, I honestly don't know. You draft them or you overpay by a couple $1 million in free agency, or like they just aren't available. And, you know, obviously it kind of comes with an asterisk given all the trade stuff, but it's a good trade for Vegas. You know, I'm still interested to see how their cap situation plays out, but we'll see there. For Buffalo, really good. I mean, Alex Tuch helps them. Peyton Krebs is a good prospect, and then, you know, you get draft picks that you can work around too.
I like the Peyton Krebs addition, just knowing that Buffalo's probably building for 5 years out and that they've got Devin Levi on the back end. They've got UPL on the back end. Delene's still got time to go. I mean,
Eric Portillo at Michigan too.
They've got a lot of actual prospects. So I don't hate the haul by Kevin Adams. He didn't have anything to work with here. Like, Jack Eichel wanted out. That was obvious. So how do you force the hands of a GM when this guy's saying, hey, I'm never going to play for you again, and other teams know that? You're really in a tough spot. Five for Fighting says no one's going to know who won the trade for a couple of years. That's fine, but it's still worth asking the question and getting some opinions out there. That's all I want to know. I don't care. I understand we're not going to know for another 2 years, but I still want to know your general thoughts. Adam, when you look at, you know, what Vegas gets back in a Jack Eichel, do you think this makes contenders in the playoffs come time when they're going to have to face the Edmonton Oilers or Calgary Flames?
Yeah, actually I do. And everybody was always on me for not saying that Vegas was going to go far. And sure enough, you know, they've kind of flamed out the last couple of years. But look, center depth is so hard to get. You look at everywhere, right? You know, the last couple teams to win the cup, you got Point, Stamkos, Cirelli all can play center. You got Crosby, Malkin, you got Taves and Brad Richards, you got Therese Bergeron, you got Anze Kopitar and Jeff Carter, you know, Ryan O'Reilly and Braden Shen. So yeah, I think this definitely gives Vegas a good chance, obviously. And you know what, they trade Peyton Krebs, and apparently that was always a holdup on if they would include him or not. But you know what, when it comes down to it, he's a prospect, right?
Oh yeah, no, he's not an immediate help to him. And if this team does want to make another playoff run in the near future, you kind of got to sacrifice some of those assets. And we put the poll on World Hockey Report. Said who won the trade? 69%. He had nice. Said Vegas. Buffalo got 31% of the votes. Now to Calgary. Brad Treliving doesn't pull the trigger, doesn't get it done. It's another swing and a miss on a elite player that they could have brought to Calgary, in my opinion. I do think where there's smoke, there's fire, and essentially Brad Treliving loses another one. What do they do with him? Is his time done? Is he not making the push? Or should the Flames just sell off at this point? Just sign and trade Johnny, get rid of Monahan, and start building for down the road? Because right now, you are just stuck in limbo land. You're not going to be able to compete in the playoffs, and you don't have that superstar up the middle that you could have got.
Yeah, I mean, for Calgary, it's really hard to find the equivalent. Like, what would the equivalent be? Elias Lindholm?
Well, I think you would have to go Monahan, Valimaki first, and a good prospect, whoever that prospect is. I don't know who exactly.
Yeah. Like Connor Zary, get Jacob Pelletier. Like, I think Lindholm is, I mean, he's a better player than Tuch, but he's Calgary's top line center, and he's been great this year. I don't think they're doing that, especially after their start. So, yeah, I mean, for Treliving, he's always in on the guys, but he never gets them. And eventually this is his team. And, you know, for him, it's kind of a sad point on his his career is that, but it's also the fact that Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau went through 15 right wingers in 3 years. Like, it was insane the amount of right wingers they would go through. And, you know, now they got Blake Coleman, who kind of helps their depth, and they can be the Islanders. They can be a 2-1 team. And, you know, winning a playoff round or two is huge for revenues. And then they got new buildings. So I'm sure that Calgary's kind of looking at winning some games and getting into the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, long term, are they a cup favorite? No.
Fully agree with that. Hey, what was it like watching Ings last night? Obviously, the Oilers win the game, but for you, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. Me and a couple buddies were there. His brothers were there. We had funny shirts made up, just like with his face. Nashville kind of ran with something he said, so we put his face on a shirt, and yeah, it was awesome. And honestly, I thought he played pretty well. Like, maybe I'm a little biased, but the first goal is a perfect shot. The second goal is a terrible bounce. The third goal, Draisaitl walks right in and rips one. Fourth goal, short, one-timer in the slot. Like, those are hard to stop. And honestly, some of the saves he made, I feel like it could have been 7 or 8-1. But no, it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome to see him.
I think a lot of teams are pissed off they didn't consider maybe picking him up off waivers. I think that's definitely one thing where teams are going to look back on this game and be like, oh, geez, you know, Arizona, they grabbed Scott Wedgwood instead of Connor Ingram. Like, shake your head. There's no answers for the teams pass it up on him other than now. Ings is on a revenge tour, and I love it. Trout, you got any last thoughts here? We got 30 seconds for you.
No, I'm just chilling in my hotel room downtown Edmonton. It's all connected to the rink, so that's nice. And then Oilers game tomorrow, Flames game Saturday. So looking forward to it, and hopefully seeing you tonight. Yeah,
not a big deal. We'll go grab dinner and maybe hit up a couple of slots.
Yep, sounds good.
Adam Ermentrout right there, joining me on World Hockey Report. We got to head off to a commercial break. Eichel Talk. Again, chime in anytime you want at World Hockey RPT. Join the conversation if you're watching on 12 Ounce Sports. Facebook, YouTube, that's where you get your comments in. Our next guest, Hockey Night Canada analyst Harpreet Pandey, joins us after the break. Cody Jansen with you, World Hockey Report. We're presented by Lord Kawada Parts.
World Hockey Report is partnering with Sports Travel Tours to bring you some incredible trips to watch hockey around the world. Sports Travel Tours has been creating hockey trips and tours since 1998. They've sent customers to the Winter Olympics, World Championships, every team in the NHL, as well as the KHL in Russia. And now, for the first time, they've been appointed official tour supplier to the Spengler Cup in Switzerland. As you all know, the Spengler Cup is the world's oldest invitational hockey tournament, set in the stunning mountains of Davos. It's also the best way to spend the time in between Christmas and New Year's. So, cheer on Team Canada in Davos this year with Sports Travel Tours exclusive packages. For information and to book, go to sportstraveltours.com. That's sportstraveltours.com and sign up to get exclusive discounts and trip priority.
NFL fans hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager, one per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What we do here is go back.
There's no shortage in hockey news to talk about. What are we doing? It's a Thursday. It feels like a Friday, and we're buzzing. Cody Jansen, World Hockey Report, presented by Lordco Auto Parts. Visit Lordco's in-store truck centers at select locations. And if you're in Edmonton, I'm telling you, they are phenomenal. You'll never go to another auto parts store. Lordco, go check them out today. It's Cody Jansen coming to you live from the Pro Rock Broadcast Studios in beautiful Alberta. You can follow me on Twitter at Janner31_ and the show at World Hockey RPT. Our next guest, Hockey Night in Canada analyst Harpreet Pandher, joins us on the line. Harpreet, how are you?
I'm doing well, Cody. How are you?
Doing good. Appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a busy day, and I'm sure your phone's been blowing up just as much as ours, but what's your thoughts on the Eichel trade? I mean, I think that's a decent haul for Kevyn Adams, but also for Vegas. This Pacific Division just got a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it did. And, I think both teams, at this point, they're winners in the trade. Buffalo, they're playing well without Eichel, and they really had no choice in this but to trade. And I think Adams got a good return for his club. Alex Tuch, great player. Obviously, he's not in the lineup right now, but he's going to be a great addition for that team. A couple of picks there. So on the other side, you got Vegas getting Eichel, but there's always the risk as well, right? I mean, Eichel, they have him out for 3 to 5 months, so by the time he comes back in February, March, it's going to be almost a year removed from a competitive hockey game for Eichel.
Do you think he plays this season? Like consider maybe in 5 months if Vegas isn't in a playoff spot, maybe they struggle, maybe they're battling injuries. Do you think there is a chance that Eichel takes the entire year off to be fully healthy for next year?
Yeah, the potential is definitely there. I mean, they paid a big price to get him. He's one of the top guys on the team immediately, their top center. So why risk another injury or a setback just because you're not in a playoff spot? But on the flip side, if they're heading into the playoffs, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the lineup.
That's fair. That is definitely fair. Hey, do you think Brad Treliving failed Flames here in this one? Because they're in on this. Calgary needs a number one center. They've needed one for a while. They seem like they've got a team that could actually compete in the playoffs, and now they're just sticking with their same old roster. Do you think Flames fans should be a little disappointed?
I don't think so. I think he's playing it safe here. I still got to dive deep into this to see what was exactly on the table, because I just heard about Tkachuk's name yesterday for the first time. And, if you're going to part with a player like Matthew Tkachuk, it's kind of a gamble, right? Because he's your number one guy. Yeah, he's not a center, but he's your potential captain. Do you want to risk him and give all those picks and whatnot just to take a risk on Jack Eichel? I think just with the injury that he's coming off of, there's always going to be that risk factor there that, hey, this Jack Eichel is not going to be better than he already has been in the past.
Now, sticking in the Pacific, I want to ask you about the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, I'm up here by Edmonton. I've got the full bias. I've got the Stanley Cup parade being planned around me. But what's your thoughts on this team? I mean, 8-1 starts, their best start since 1986, something like that. I believe David Amber tweeted out. But is this team for real in your mind? Have they turned a switch from previous years where in playoffs they've struggled? Do you think they've maybe, broken through?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a sample size, and a better sample size than 10 is probably 20. But my biggest question mark for these guys going in was the goaltending. Mike Smith, how many games is he going to play? He's injured, and Koskinen Sveno was kind of inconsistent in my opinion, and from what I've seen. But you know what? There's no holes in the team right now. They're rolling, and the additions that they've made on defense, they're benefiting from. A veteran like Duncan Keith, regardless of how he even plays, he's just a great guy to bring in and mentor guys like Darnell Nurse to get him to the next level. Cece's been playing well too, and McDavid, Draisaitl, these guys are on a tear. They're putting up numbers like the early 90s.
Do you think they could hit 150 points each?
I think so. If they stay healthy, why not? We had McDavid last year. If it was a full season, he would have been on pace for 160, and Draisaitl's even ahead of him right now, points wise.
That's bold. That's bold. Hey, one of the other teams that's really impressed me this season has been Carolina, and they're 9-0. So I'll snap it over to the East for one question for you. Who do you think goes further this year, Florida or Carolina? Because I like the Canes, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not fully sold on them. Like, I still see a little bit more potential in Florida, but I want to know your opinion.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a guess. I'm going to roll with Carolina here. I just think that Freddie Anderson he must have this motivation in him, just from what he dealt with in Toronto and just having a total fresh start. And he hasn't lost yet. I mean, if who would have guessed that? Like, he's going to go sign in Carolina, and he's going to be unbeaten in X amount of games.
I don't think anyone would have guessed that. Honestly, like we were talking about Carolina's goaltending earlier, and Freddie Anderson, he comes in, you're like, hey, that's awesome. Like, is he going to be a 60-40 split with Adin Hill? Can Adin Hill even play, or not Adin Hill, pardon me, Antti Ranta in there? And it's like, oh, can they even handle that 1A, 1B system? And he's been phenomenal. He's not blown the doors off of everything. Hey, it's also been a tumultuous time in hockey world and in the culture here. With all that's gone on, Harpreet, I really want your opinion. You're on Hockey Night in Canada, the Punjabi. You're an analyst there. You see all sorts of things. You're talking to everyone in the industry. What do you think is the first thing that hockey culture needs to fix or address to make it more of an inclusive place? Because there's obviously a lot of steps that need to be taken, but is there anything easy that hockey fans, hockey players can do to make the game more inclusive and more accepting?
Well, I don't think it's so much on the players, but I mean, it's on it's on management and ownership and the teams to just voice whatever it is. I mean, we've seen a shift in this last year and a half, 2 years. We've talked about diversity, how Black Lives Matter. You can see it on the face of Sportsnet, whatnot. You're not having just 4 guys there anymore. You're seeing women up there. You're seeing guys and girls of visible minorities. So it's got to be inclusive. And if we're going to sell this game, we have to sell it to everyone because we want everyone to play this. So who's going to put their kid in hockey and a guy like me who's visible minority and think like, oh, you know what, you're not going to have a chance because it's only the non-minorities that are playing this game. And just to get back in what happened in Chicago there, it was an old school mentality that happened there, and it goes along the lines of the old boys club, right? It just got brushed underneath the carpet, and I really think that these guys probably thought they were off the hook, and some of these guys just got blindsided, 10 years ago, thinking, you know what? Yeah, we were after a cup, but we still could have dealt with this in the right manner, still won those cups, and done the right thing at the same time.
Bang on there. Harpreet Pandher, my guest, Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi analyst. Hey, Harpreet, can you speak to, I guess, kind of the Punjabi community where Hockey Night in Canada has really taken off? And I know you're in Vancouver where, it's a very culturally diverse area. How big has that been just for growing the game of hockey out there? Because it seems like a step in the right direction, to put it in simple terms.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen growth in our own community of both Punjabi, South Asians putting their kids into hockey or even watching for that matter. And it goes back to the diversity. Like we have stuff like hockey's for everyone, and if hockey's for everyone, we gotta target every demographic there really is, right? And it's not just the Punjabis. It's like whatever visible minority culture that may not be versed in hockey, introduce them, give them an opportunity. And I know there's lots of charities out there too that get communities involved. Some of the people that are less privileged that would never have a opportunity to get on state skates and get on the ice, and they do. Off the top of my head, I'm forgetting the charities' names, but there's a few of them out there.
One person I did want to ask you about, I don't know if you know him personally or not, is Han Ryan Singh, who's doing play-by-play now. Pardon me if I pronounce that wrong, but that's how we know him, I guess, through Sportsnet West when he's doing Oilers games. Actually, he's doing national games too now. But, I mean, what's that been to the community to see that as someone who's growing the game for Hockey Night in Canada, to have him calling crazy meaningful games now? I mean, it's got to seem like there's a little shift going on.
Yeah, Harnrayan Singh, he's been the guy since from Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi's infancy, right? He was there since day one. This year is the 15th year of Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi. So I came on about 8 years ago. This is my 8th season. So, he was a mentor. He was our guide. Anything we had to question, he's very supportive to us. So, and I've seen him, get to this next level, right? And he's hit the biggest stage there is if you're a broadcaster, which is Hockey Night in Canada in English. So it's something that he and I we discussed. We're like, that would be just awesome if you got this opportunity one day. 10 years go by, 11 years go by, and we're still thinking, even if it's a one-off or you get a handful of games, that's great, right? And he gets the first game, and then he gets a couple of months last year, and then he gets into round 2 of the playoffs. So I'm just really happy for the guy. There can't be a more deserving guy. Him and other people on our team that have worked hard too. Randeep Janda, he's on Sportsnet 650. Yeah. He's got his own show there. The list goes on. Amrit Gill, she's our social media gal. She's taken on a new position, which is kind of she's got the experience from her Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi. I'm not supposed to say what it is yet, but I'm just
we can't break news here. Come on, Harpreet.
Can't break news, but I'm just saying, Harnrayan and the whole team, I'm very proud of what they've accomplished.
That's crazy. I didn't know the whole backstory on that, though. That's an awesome one. Hey, I gotta ask though, like, how did you get into media? What attracted you to be like, I want to stand in front of a camera and have all this pressure put on me? Like, what kind of got you into the media game?
As a kid, I did aspire to be a broadcaster, and then life evolves, and it's just like I'm doing other things. So what really happened was my friend Bhupinder Hundal, he was the manager at Omni, which is a Rogers company, does the multi-language broadcasts of news and whatnot. So when Rogers got the broadcast right for hockey in Canada, which was 2013 or 2014-ish, Bhupinder approached me. He's like, hey, there's a chance we might get the Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi, and it might be, running through Vancouver through our station here. And, he asked me, would you be interested? I'm like, 100%. And, we didn't know. We rehearsed. I remember, Janda, Hundal and I, we would be on his couch just rehearsing. So we're ready for this, right? And, we'd be calling old games with the couple of plugs out so we'd get the sound of the game, but not of the broadcasters. So lo and behold, the opportunity came, and this is fast forward. This is year number 8 for us.
That's awesome. That's incredible, man. Hey, I got to ask, and we've had a lot of broadcasters on before tell some funny stories, from Ray Ferraro walking into glass, Gordon Miller having a couple of incidents overseas. You got to have a funny story for us. We love that aspect of broadcasters, because what you see on TV ain't what's happening behind the camera. We know that. Give us a funny story, Harpreet.
Well, there's a couple of funny ones, but the first one that just kind of pops into mind is Hundal and Harnrayan Singh. The three of us were in Edmonton, and it's the last game at Rexall. The old Northlands Coliseum. I don't have to tell you.
Oh yeah.
So we're there. We walk into the media room, and they have the media meal going on, and we walk in, and it's like everyone's just kind of looking at us like, who are these turban guys? Are they in the right spot? That's how I kind of felt. That's how I took it. But anyway, so I was just like, I just put my head down, like, just find the empty spot. And then we see Bob Cole standing there. And it was just like it was just like a awe moment, because I've never met Bob Cole. And, he's a voice that I grew up on, watching Hockey Night in Canada on Saturdays. And he gives us a kind of a wave salute. And we're like, oh, wicked. Out of all people, we have Bob Cole waving at us. So, that put us at ease, and we went over there and, had a chat with him, and what a treat it was to meet Mr. Cole.
That's crazy. That's a legend to meet too. Like, anyone who watched like Canada games, and I think some of my favorite calls were from the Olympics from him, but that's awesome. Harpreet, thank you so much for taking the time, man. Best of luck in the future. You're crushing it there, and I know that the future's bright for you too, so keep grinding away, man.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
Harpreet Pandya right there, Joining us, Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi analyst on World Hockey Report. Some awesome stories, some awesome insight, and just an important conversation to have. I love how down to earth he is. I love how, he took everything from an approach of maybe we don't need to burn it to the ground, but we need more visibility. We need people to step up. We need people to take a little bit more responsibility. And I think that's a fair approach. And there's also an aspect of learning. I didn't know Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi's been going on for 15 years. I didn't know Hanrahan Singh's been there since the beginning. I mean, those are the hockey stories we love to tell. Those are the hockey stories of why I got into this thing. Is because that's what the hockey community is. It really is. There is a better hockey culture out there. Maybe it's not always the prevalent one, which is disappointing, but there is a large inclusive group who does want to see this game grow, who does want to see the culture shift, everything improve. So it was awesome to talk to Harpreet Pandey right there, Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi analyst. Alrighty, we got to head off to a commercial break here. Do we want to talk more Eichel next? Yeah, we probably should, and maybe we'll take a Sabres angle as well. Jill Thompson's going to join us after the break. We'll look to connect with her, but everyone knows my favorite hockey tournament of the year. It's the Spangler Cup, and all the great people at Sports Travel Tours, they want you to experience it as well. Check out all the available packages at sportstraveltours.com. That gets underway Boxing Day. Yes, Boxing Day, December 26th. Also, Canada's schedule for the World Juniors came out, and man, New Year's Eve is going to be incredible. You got USA versus Russia first off. That one's happening in Red Deer. And then for Canada, they'll take on Finland in Edmonton. That's New Year's Eve. That's going to be incredible. We'll get to the rest of the schedule later. It's Cody Jansen, World Hockey Report. We're back after the break.
World Hockey Report is partnering with Sports Travel Tours to bring you some incredible trips to watch hockey around the world. Sports Travel Tours has been creating hockey trips and tours since 1998. They've sent customers to the Winter Olympics, World Championships, every team in the NHL, as well as the KHL in Russia. And now, for the first time, they've been appointed official tour supplier to the Spangler Cup in Switzerland. As you all know, the Spangler Cup is the world's oldest invitational hockey tournament, set in the stunning mountains of Davos. It's also the best way to spend the time in between Christmas and New Year's. So, cheer on Team Canada in Davos this year with Sports Travel Tours exclusive packages. For information and to book, go to sportstraveltours.com. That's sportstraveltours.com and sign up to get exclusive discounts and trip priority.
NFL fans hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has you covered. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager, one per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What we do here is go back.
It's a World Hockey Report presented by Lordco Auto Parts. Find a store near you at lordco.com. If you missed any of the conversation with Harpreet Pandey, Hockey Night Canada analyst, you can download it on the Hockey Podcast Network. And be sure to use DraftKings. Use the promo code THPN when signing up there. They're going to give you the best deposit bonuses possible. Support Isha Dillon and the entire THPN crew. Now let's snap it over to Jill Thompson. Sabres fan, podcaster, photographer, artist. She does it all, and we know she's opinionated on the Sabres, so we had to have her on the show. Jill, I want to know your first thoughts. Like, when you looked at your phone this morning and saw the trade, like what's the first two sentences that went through your head?
I didn't think it was real at first. I woke up and I looked at my phone and I was like, I had to look at it again. But relief. I'm just glad it's done with. I felt like it was, a shadow casted over the entire team. Even as a diehard fan, it was just, I'm sure fans around the league too, you're just sick of hearing about it,
What's your thoughts on Kevyn Adams after this? Because I think he got a decent haul. If I'm being honest, I think he did all right for the cards he was dealt. He had a terrible situation where he knew, and all the GMs knew, that Jack Eichel was not staying there.
You got to give him props. He stepped into a really bad situation as our head coach, dealing with, pretty awful, in my opinion, owners, and he's done pretty well. I mean, it's a little bit sad getting rid of a star player like Eichel, who we all, thought was going to turn the team around entirely, and just having to wait it out again. But I do like the return, and I know a lot of people, especially on Twitter, I've been seeing the comments, people are saying, it's underwhelming and like, oh, we waited so long for this. But I think we just have so much young talent now, and you got to give Kevyn Adams props for that too.
There is a lot of young talent, and you kind of add a guy like Peyton Krebs, who has played with Cousins before. I think Levi was on that team as well. You've got UPL, who's going to be an awesome goaltender. I mean, I'd say a 1B is probably his ceiling. Maybe he will exceed a UC Saros, but that's still all to be determined. But again, the future's kind of looking bright for the Sabres if you're looking 5 years down the road, and that's the issue right now, Jill. Do you trust the Pagulas to steer this ship for 5 years in the right direction?
With the way things are going, I gotta be optimistic and hopeful. I think this is like a bright spot when we've, as fans of the Sabres, have been in a really dark place for so long. One other thing I was just thinking of, as you brought up Craig Anderson. I was super skeptical about that at first. I was like, what the hell are we doing? But then when you think about it, he'll be able to take UPL under his wing, and kind of like steer the younger guys, in the right direction, give them the right mindset, because he's just like such a great guy. He knows the ins and outs of everything, and he is playing like phenomenally now. So
it's not a terrible tandem as they're playing it out right now with Anderson and Tokarski. I mean, no one expected them to be in this spot, so I think they're exceeding expectations, but I also think this kind of, for Sabres fans, and I guess I can't speak for everyone, but it gives them a little bit of hope to be like, hey, maybe the core we're building around isn't complete trash. And now, I know you're a Dahlin fan. I mean, you're going to defend him till the end of time, but what do you think his actual ceiling is right now? Like, I'm not going to call him a bust, but everyone was talking about him being the next Nick Lidstrom, and he ain't that. He ain't that at all.
Well, you got to remember the kid just turned 21 years old. I'll probably get made fun of for bringing up his age, but, as a defenseman, Lidstrom was not even, I think he started playing in the NHL at 21. You look at people like Erik Karlsson, they didn't play till, I don't think he played or broke out until he was like a few years older than Dahlin. And I think that with our team kind of like going through the up and downs like this, he just needs a little bit more of it to be steady for him to really, really blow up. And he'll get there. I mean, you can see the strides he made when we fired, what's his name? Ralph Kruger and Donato stepped in. He took off at the end of last season. So I know it's coming. I'm the wrong person to ask though, because I love Dahlin, so I'm like his number one fan. A lot of people would say otherwise. People are jokingly calling him bust, which he absolutely is not. but he also is going to have Owen Power coming in too to give him some relief.
Yeah, Power's going to be nasty.
And yeah, he is. And the great thing, I don't think a lot of people realize this season, is Dahlin's been playing on his right side. When he was in Sweden, he played on his right side. But up until this season, they had him playing on the left. So I don't know how they're going to break it up, but potentially Power and Dahlin could play in that top pairing unit for defense. So
it's interesting. I did not know that. But also, holy shit, I'm looking at the stats right now. And ticker, Dustin Tokarski, he's got a .936 save percentage in 3 games this season. And Craig Anderson has a .921 in 6. That's insane.
Isn't it? It's crazy. It like still blows my mind even hearing it.
And I get it. It's kind of a small sample size, but in another picture, it's not that small. I mean, we'll see how it ends up at the end of the season, but geez, what a start for them. Now, I got to ask about Victor Olofsson, of course, because I think this kid is the real deal. Like, he can rip the pill. He's got 5 tucks in 8 games this season. Like, is he someone who you kind of expected to take the next step, or is he shocked Sabres fans a little bit?
100% expected it. Sabres fans, we love him. We knew how great he was when he was in Rochester. But have you seen the kid's shot? It's insane.
Oh, yeah. No, he's legit. He is legit. Hey, also, oh, geez, Jeff Skinner, his name is blowing my mind for a second there. So is he no longer a bust or what? Like, he seems to be having a decent season out there.
We have an ongoing joke within our fan base that Ralph Kruger hated him.
He's not a $9 million player, but again, he's got 6 points in 9 games. Like, you know, if he finishes with 60 points, you're happy. Like, you're jumping up and down.
Yeah, well, they're just putting him on the line, the right lines. I mean, last season, Ralph Kruger had him like playing the 4th line, and I think he even he benched him for like a couple weeks, and everyone was. There was no like rhyme or reason for why he did it. It was kind of like a mystery. But I see it in him. I mean, he's a goal scorer. We've seen him, you know, playing in Carolina, and he was great there. And then, of course, that first season with the Sabres when he was with Eichel, you know, the one that got him the $9 million check, the 40 goals. So it's there. It's just about putting the pieces together when this is all going to click for the team, hopefully, you know?
So obviously they had a great start as well, but now the games get a little bit tougher. I think tonight in Seattle's a very winnable game. I don't know if the Kraken are going back to Decord, but you also have the Red Wings in there, the Capitals, and then it gets tough. Then you got the Oilers, then you got the Leafs, the Flames, the Rangers. Like, there's 3 winnable games in a row here for Buffalo. Are people actually considering them a potential wild card team? Or is this kind of just a flash in the pan and, hey, we know things are going to go downhill from here?
I have to laugh at myself because I'm always going to think they're going to be good, you know, one season after the next. And now I say, like, I'm waiting until, like, April to fully buy in. Just because they like to do that, you know, we'll be great. We had that 10-game winning streak a couple seasons ago through October, November-ish, and everyone bought in then. You know, the arena was selling out, but I'm treading lightly.
Interesting. This one's just coming across my text line here. It says McCrimmon says Eichel's been cleared for artificial disc replacement surgery. So that's good to see for him. Is there a part of you that's happy to see Eichel get the surgery he wants? Like, obviously, you'd rather have him on your team and happy in Buffalo, but is there like a little part of you that's like, hey, at least he's happy from a human being perspective?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I hope it all works out for him. I hope, you know, that he doesn't run into future problems with it, you know, playing in a high impact sport, like 82 games a season. I hope he doesn't have to like revisit surgeries, but I have a feeling he's going to have to. But yeah, of course, I wish him all the best, and I'm happy he gets to do what he wants to do.
Do you think that he's going to get booed when he comes back to Buffalo? Is that like a guarantee?
I'm sure you'll hear some booing in the crowd. I, for one, wouldn't, even though I think the biggest problem with Eichel that some people know, it's off the ice. I think he is kind of a snob, and a lot of the younger guys.
He's a BU kid. Of course he is.
I'm just guessing. Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to translate, in Vegas when he's stepping in when there's like players like Mark Stone but we all joke that he can go and cry with Robin Lehner now. So.
I guess, yeah, Lehner is there too. I totally forgot about that. Hey,
yeah, it's gonna be a Sabres, crap talking fest over there, I'm sure, for a little while.
Another player who's had some success leaving Buffalo. Sorry to keep, hammering at the wounds, but Sam Reinhart in Florida, he's looked pretty solid to start. Is that someone where maybe now that you look back, you wish you would have, or as a team, you think they wish they would have treated better or built around better? Because, that guy, he's really added to Florida's depth, and he's made them legit contenders now that they have that forward depth and where he can play second, third line and be effective.
I feel like he was so underrated in Buffalo. He is like I was more upset when Sam Reinhart got dealt than with any of this Eichel stuff, because I love Sam Reinhart. I think he's such a good hockey player. He's going to tear it up there. He definitely is. I know I picked him up on my fantasy teams immediately because I think they have a lot of good stuff going down in Florida. They're going to be really good for a while.
Now, give me a hot take give me a hot take on the Oilers. We got enough Edmonton fans up here, and I know you love giving hot takes on Twitter. So, give us a hot take for the Oilers.
Oh man.
There's no way you're speechless here.
You guys have Zach Hyman, don't you?
Oh yeah, from Toronto.
What line is he playing in?
He's on the top line. He plays with McDavid and Puljujarvi. They're nasty together.
So, sorry, I'm not up to date on my Oilers stuff, but I think he's going to be big time because he played so well for Toronto. I think he was like their best player for portions of the season and whatever part of the postseason he was in there. Is that hot enough of a take for you?
I mean, that's not your best. I've seen better for you. Do you like my Stanley Cup pick? I got the Oilers beating the Islanders in 7 games for the Cup this year. Think that's fair?
Oh my God. I would fall asleep. Come on. You got the Islanders. Who wants to watch the Islanders in that much of the playoffs and go that far?
There's no way you wouldn't want to watch the Islanders lose in 7 games. It would be hilarious.
Oh, it would be hilarious, but I'd be sleeping.
Oh, you would not. McDavid and Draisaitl, they've never put anyone to sleep in their lives. They are the definition of excitement.
Not them. It's just like watching paint dry, the Islanders.
Who's your most hated team? What team do you hate the most?
Oh, come on, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Of course. So what if they come and just go on a playoff run now and get over the hump? Are you just going to quit watching hockey?
If the Leafs do?
Yeah, what if Mitch Marner and Matthews heat up and they go on a run?
It's not going to happen. And here's the thing that I love about, even though the Sabres are always rock bottom in the division, we like to rotate teams. Like it's either Ottawa and Buffalo keeping the Leafs from advancing, and then like it's the Bruins and the Habs or the Florida Panthers or Tampa Bay that keeps them from advancing. Like we all cycle when we're good and when we're bad, so we can just all keep the Leafs out of the second round. Okay,
Jill, we're going to end this here. You got to say something nice about Cody Eakin because he's a former Swift Current Bronco and an awesome guy.
He has an awesome mullet.
I knew that's what you were going to say. I knew that's what you were going to say.
He's got like chalky hair. Like that is some business there. It's pretty crazy.
That's it. It's as redneck as it gets in Buffalo. I'll leave it there. Jill, where can people find you? I know you're big on Twitter. You got other social media, or just give your handles and stuff.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. That is, it's just like my private account. I don't really do hockey stuff on there, but it's Jillo with 3 L's, so Jilllo.
And you are a photographer, an artist, Swiss Army Knife on podcasts as well, and on Twitter at Sabres Bunny. Hey, thanks for hopping on. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Jill Thompson right there joining us to talk the Eichel trade. Get in any last-minute thoughts right now. The Islanders have traded the rights to Johnny Boychuk to the Buffalo Sabres. Oh, cap floor insurance move here. That's what that is. I'm like, Johnny Boychuk getting traded? That's a weird one to end the show here. Gets Buffalo to the cap floor. They got space. You wonder if they'll take on... I mean, this is a team, and the NHL has kind of gone that route. Maybe they will take on a couple of bad contracts. Maybe they will. It's not exactly like Vegas has anything to give, but they got to get back to the cap. Maybe they'll take on something from Tampa if it means that all of a sudden they get another first-round pick or a second-round pick, maybe a good prospect in exchange to help a team out cap-wise. Not that I exactly like the cap gymnastics, but I do think it's a possibility. Again, you got 1 minute to join the conversation right now. We'll head back to the Twitter well and get some of your thoughts on the Eichel trade. Jack Eichel, he goes to Buffalo. And Alex Tuch, he was one of Vegas's best players. He's just injured. And here's what Tennis Ball has to say. Tuch's going to be a solid fit for Buffalo, similar to what Hyman is for the Oilers. Could end up being their captain. I don't know. Is Alex Tuch the captain type? I think when you've got Dylan Cousins, I don't know how Delina is really in the dressing room. Maybe I don't really see him taking that role. But I think there's some better players. I think Owen Power is going to be a future captain of an NHL team. Look at how big of a role he played on Canada at the World Championships. So maybe you don't hand it off to a Tuch. Maybe you find an older guy to wear it. Carmen Gill hops in and says, Will Eichel be a number one center after his surgery? I think it's a no-brainer. Yeah, he's definitely is. And what if it goes wrong? Well, it's a risk worth taking in my mind. How often do you have a chance to get a number one center? These don't even come in the draft all the time. So you got to take those risks. And that's my issue with Brad Treliving, is I think he could have taken the risk and he chose not to. We'll leave it at that for today. Everyone, have a great weekend. It's going to be beautiful out there. It's fall weather. And we're going to talk to you on Tuesday. Short week next week. It's Remembrance Day. Remember, we're a Pompey. And everyone, as always, be kind, be better.